I love business models. Everybody does that solve really great problems for the consumer, right? And that's what Turo's doing. That's what Turo is enabling you to do. So you got into a couple aspects of this.
Yep.
So we really want to learn a lot about Turo. Some people might be hearing us say this word for the first time. So
Mhm.
talk to us about the platform. You explain what it does.
Yep.
This is like you're taking a picture of your car and putting it on an app. Is that my understanding here?
It is literally that simple. I mean, listing it was unbelievably simple. You take some pictures. Of course, the big thing with anything that's a peer reviewed product, because that's what Airbnb does, right? They have review ratings where other people, once they stay with you, rate you and vice versa. We do the same thing with Turo. And the first thing you almost have to do is you have to discount your first 4 to 5 trips to make it appealing for people. Now, what was kind of nice about Fargo was I believe I was either the first or second person to really start doing Turo. And I have the most reviewed, which is a weird title to have, a most reviewed vehicle in our area. But without those reviews, people just they don't trust it. And it's funny because that trend has become more and more normal across so many different industries. And of course, I call it the Amazon effect. We go to something, we read the reviews, and we only buy it if it's a well-reviewed product and seems kosher. So, anyways, I discounted my price pretty drastically for the first few, and I would describe it as the biggest pain with Turoing is the management and communication with the people that are renting the vehicle. 4 out of 5 are fabulous people. 4 out of 5. Ideal. They bring it back with more gas than what it had. It's clean. And then 1 out of 5, man, there are some interesting stories. Like the dude that hit a deer, there was beer spilt all over inside the car, all over everything. Now, what's great is I then can document it and charge a cleaning fee if there's any damage that's done. You can document and they bill, and basically Turo would cover that for you. But it's still a pain because what happens is for us, like I'm booked out 25 days a month. Again, basic mom car Subaru. Um, it's pretty consistent. But what happens if someone brings it back? We sometimes have days where it gets brought back at noon and is rented out a few hours later that day, which is no big deal. We bring it to the car wash, do all that good stuff. But if, I don't know, drunk driver hitting deer does that, that's where it's just kind of, once in a while. And that one's actually really rare. I'd say we've only had 1 or 2 really bad stories out of the 70 plus trips or so that we
Yeah.
but 4 out of 5 are just so easy, no issues. The other big thing is arranging pickup, right? Because it's a little different. Like an Airbnb, you just put a key somewhere and you put a lockbox on it, and you can do that. And you
Okay.
can do that now with some vehicles, but here in Fargo, with it being a kind of like most of the people are coming in, flying in, and they're flying into Hector.
Yep.
We can't park our cars, of course, in the car rental parking lot. So we oftentimes will either bring it up and drop it off in the short term. And that's really like the only manpower we have in this.
Gotcha.
Fortunately, I have
Okay.
my brother who works for me, and we get a charge. I think it's $65 or $75 per person. So let's say they park or they want to pick it up at Hector, I charge $65 on top of their rental fee, and that's all money in my pocket.
Wow. And that's
So
that's great, man.
it's
And
not.
that's pretty common. And okay, so a couple things that I just pulled from this, Robbie. You're booked out 25 nights out of a month, over
Yeah.
80%.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
And that's fairly consistent.
It's been very, very consistent. Yeah.
I think that
I was looking at the map earlier today of our earnings, and it's been like January was 697. February, February, March up here, nobody even wants to go outside, but that was still 540. March 620, April 500, and then May almost 700, June 875, July 1027, August, we're trending right around the 500-600 mark again. So it's consistent right around those numbers. And for us,
Wow.
we usually the face value is 40 some a day, and then it auto adjusts if it's not booked out.
Robby, this topic just became extremely important for anybody listening that is someone that has not started making passive income yet. Because the accessibility of this, think of someone listening to this that says, "Hey, I want to create extra income streams. I'd like them to be passive. I haven't started yet. Maybe I don't have a huge amount of savings, but guess what? I work from home and I have a vehicle that sits in a garage, or maybe two vehicles that sit in a garage or a driveway all day, all week."
Correct.
The stats that you just explained to us, I mean, talk about jumping into a passive income stream that can feed savings and investing for everything else going on. This is a great start for people with a passive income mentality.
So again, if I put a face value, let's just put some return numbers on this for people. I would say the value of the vehicle this was when we bought it. It was about $12,000 years ago. Well, let's just say that's our purchase price, right? Might have actually gone up because of used cars in the market out there.
True.
But this is nothing great. There are some rules about vehicles, by the way, that can't be over a certain age. I forget exactly what they are, but they can be over a certain age and over a certain mileage. If you get in before, you can be grandfathered in with it, but you can't add that as a new vehicle.
So that's good to know. There's some ground rules for this. Okay.
I bought a new Navigator for my family and I. Thank you, 6,000-pound rule from the government. And we had a minivan. I was going to add the minivan, but it had too many miles.
Gotcha. Any idea what that mileage is, Robby?
I think it's 150. I think it's 150, and it can't be more than 10 years old. Okay. I think we were right at 10 years old, but we had 160,000 miles. So I just had to sell it. They have it pretty clear. They weren't even willing to bend it for me. They're not going to bend it for you. No chance.
Yeah.
We tried calling. We're what's known as a super host, and if anyone has some pull, it's going to be people like myself who already have a demonstrated track record of treating their people well, and they're like, no chance. So there's got to be something lawyers have done or something that just won't even allow it.
So or go ahead, finish your thought, Robby. Sorry.
So I was going to say the investment hypothetically is called 10 to 15,000. We're averaging, let's just call it $650 per month in revenue. My hard cost on that is an oil change. We don't do it every 3 months. It's about every month and a half to 2 months with the mileage that gets put on it. Sometimes people take long trips, and you can charge additional for the miles. Like they get an allocated amount of miles. Some people literally just use it in town and drive 5 miles. It is so random. I've had people book it last minute and use it to go to Minneapolis. I had one person go all the way to Omaha in it. I think that's the furthest I've seen someone do it. So really the cost for me, which is not a cost, it's a write-off, of course, for I created a whole LLC for this that owns it. Probably what is an oil change? I don't know, call it $50 a month.
Okay, there we go.
50 because we're doing it every other month. That's the hard costs in there. That's it. And those amounts do not include the compensation for any dirty vehicles, things like that, where people have been charged and we make money. Like honestly, if someone car back really dirty, I'm happy because it's $125 in my pocket and it takes 10 minutes to clean it. So I don't care.
So I mean, what we're talking, roughly speaking, is $12,000 vehicle, $600 a year in oil changes. We're talking 100% return on your investment if you're doing this right. If not, right around there. You know.
Yeah, I mean, let's just cut it in half to be safe, but 50% return with very little headache. You know, it's funny because a lot of people want to make some side money and they go to the Uber and want to Lyft. I'm like, no, that's selling your time. This is no time, right? Which is passive.
That's right, man.
Right? That's the
awesome.
Definition.
That was
Uber,
a great call out there.
People confuse that. They're like, well, it sounds like Uber or Lyft. I'm like, no. That's active. This is 1% active, 99% passive.
100%. Okay, real quick on this, Turo takes how much? Well, how do they get the win?
It's got to be some percentage. I honestly don't even know. You think I would know that?
And
Uh,
it's probably they charge the user and the host.
they charge. Let's see here. I'm looking up the website just to make sure I'm
Yeah,
getting
this would be good.
their rates. Understanding earnings and host take rate. The host take rate is a percentage you earn of the trip price and some other guest charges. That doesn't really matter. The rate is 60 to 90%. 60 to
For
90%. 100% on approved reimbursement amounts, including cleaning, missing fuel, low battery, ticket, toll costs, stuff like that. But 60 90%. I believe what
Okay.
happens is when you earn things like I have the designation of a special host or whatever the term is called, the all-star host, they give you a higher rate because they expect less bumps from you.
Very good. Okay, so you grow into a higher take.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so that's Turo's win. Everybody knows they got it. They need to win in this.
Yep.
Insurance wise, you touched a little bit on like how that works, but does Turo also insure your vehicle, or is that just under your insurance? Because
It's actually so Turo has a policy that covers me, and
okay,
then the drivers opt in. Just like when you're renting a vehicle, you know how they try to sell you, because that's what nobody really knows about is that's where they make their money. They try to upsell you on
yes,
insurance as the car rental. That's what Turo is doing as well. And there's different packages where Turo will make more or less money depending on if you get the insurance package or not.
gotcha. But either way, it would default if like when you hit a deer or that person hit a deer,
Yep.
does that hit your insurance policy? Because I know that changes your insurance rates sometimes.
It did not. And he actually, when he hit the deer, it just literally bounced off the car.
Yes.
I had one time where I had to do an insurance claim, and that was through Turo. They always try to have you negotiate with the person who did it first. And Turo was about to pay it, and then the person said, "Screw it, I'll just pay you directly." So
Gotcha.
it's that piece is a little, I'll call it a little wild west is how
Okay.
it kind of seems. But if anything, majorly detrimental. I think what happened with ours was like a light fell off or something along those lines. It was something weird like that.
Okay. Okay. And then you had mentioned your pickup, where you're literally leaving the car for someone to pick up, and it's there for them. Which is how awesome is that? I'm thinking on the user end.
Yep.
Otherwise, are people generally coming to your home to pick it up? Is that kind of how that works? Like,
We just literally leave it in the driveway and they come to our house, and it's probably about 60-40. 60% come to our house, 40% airport.
okay, okay, and I mean, I'm sure some people could create a designated drop off location where the car is if they didn't want people coming to their house, whatever,
100%. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's the one of the reasons that we haven't just scaled this beyond what we've done before is I don't know where I'd park them, and I don't have the time to think about it yet. So for me,
Yes.
it's just take the easy money where I'm getting it.